2024 Ferrari 599XX. So leading off from the last part where we 2K'd it, we've got all the resin parts to clean up. So I was just having a quick test fit of the rear diffuser, which still fits absolutely perfect. We've got lots of resin parts to clean up. Most of them are going to be staying on their pore stubs because of the way Alpha Model mounts them. It's perfect for spraying. A little bit of flashing amongst the spokes of the wheels. So I've got a cocktail stick and literally just wiping it through, takes the flash off without damaging the wheel. Very, very clean, but just a few wisps of flash in there, and obviously to get in there with something thin, this is probably the best way of doing it, to be honest. So just going through all the spokes, cleaning the wisps of flash off in between. Really nice wheels on this car as well. We've got all that mounted up now, all the resin, and now we've got all the photo etch to cut off. So going through the instructions, making sure what we're cutting off needs painting because some of the photo etch will be kept bare metal. So we've got the brake discs now. So we cut them off, clean them up with our Zuron shears and our Tamiya diamond file if we need it. And then it's a case just working our way through what was probably the most laborious job on these kits, because we are going to batch paint, prime and paint everything together. So we mount all the photo etch on reverse Tamiya tape on some tongue depressors. It's the easiest way to do it. So just turn some Tamiya tape over the opposite way. Use another couple of pieces of Tamiya tape to hold it at the bottom. This is a good way of mounting things for paint. As you can see, we're just putting all the hubs on. Everything's on there. Most of this stuff is going to be painted on one side only. So this method works really well. Just make sure you get the right way round what you want to spray. And there we go. We've built up our PU window wipers as well. Piece of cake to do. So there's both of those done. So they can be mounted up ready for photo etch primer as well. Speaking of which, here we are on the booth and we've got ProScale Paint's photo etch primer. This is the perfect etch primer, especially formulated for photo etch. It's nice and thin. It won't block all the grills and lose detail. Chemically adheres itself to the photo etch, so a lot more resilient to scratches and wiping off and what have you. So it's a couple of light coats, getting all those angles. Most important on the grills. You'd be surprised how much angling the paint makes a big difference on the grills. It gets it right into all the recesses. And then the same on the discs as well. We're going to do the discs in carbon ceramic from ProScale as well. So a couple of light coats, let it dry. Dries almost instantly. This stuff is very, very good. With through my Watt HPCH, 18 PSI. Like I say, just a couple of coats on each piece of PE. And again, getting the angles. Now on this one, the discs were a little bit too wide, so I had to come back later and spray the back of them a little bit. So a little bit of a flaw on the kit there. And then we've got some, this isn't ProScale paints, this is Mr. Surfacer 1500 Black in a ProScale paints bottle, pre-thinned. And we're going to put a couple of coats down on all the parts. So lots of resin to prime and paint. I'm not going to show every single one because we would literally be here all day. But we're just going to put down a couple of coats of primer on everything. The wheels, we get all in and around the spokes, all around the side and underneath as well. Because of the shape of wheel, it does make them a little bit more trickier to spray. But again, as always, take your time. No heavy coats. We don't want to be putting wet coats down, and you'll be done in no time at all. Same with the seats. Just nice light coats. By the time you've done one side and come back to the other, you'll find it's virtually dry. You can just keep spraying. That is the beauty of lacquer paints. They flash off really, really fast. This serves as a good primer if you don't want any microfilling capabilities. I just wish Tamiya would make a black primer, but they don't. Otherwise, that'd be what I use because it's easier to get a hold of. Photo etch now being primed in black as well. So I was originally just going to leave it painted in Mr. Surfacer 1500 Black, and then I opted to spray it in LP5 instead. Now, spoiler alert, that grill at the top is facing the wrong way. I've done it the wrong way, and I figure it out a little bit later, take it back off the car, respray it, bish bash bosh, job done, back in place. So pay attention to what you're doing. I thought I had the prancing horse logo the right way round, and I didn't. It was the wrong way. Easily fixable though, and we'll sort it out later. So like I said, I did initially think, you know what, I'll leave these in this colour, and then when I had the LP5 out, I thought, you know what, we'll paint these as well. So nice quick go over. Couple of coats of each one. Perfect. Same with the wipers as well. Although they've been primed in the photo etch primer, I thought I'll prime them in the black. Now I think I did actually lead these in Mr. Surfacer 5100 black. The black from Mr. Surfacer is quite a nice black. It's not quite semi-gloss. It's in between matte and semi-gloss. So it's like semi-matte gloss. Matte. Yes. It's a different colour entirely upon itself. So it's a good colour for getting colour tones or variation. And laid down on top of the photo etch primer, covers really quick, dries really fast. This is why lacquers to me are a far superior paint. Now on the window surrounds, we've got some GX2 Mr. Hobby Gloss Black. This has been thinned with Mr. Hobby Lacquer Thinner with retard, well, Mr. Hobby Leveling Thinner, sorry. And several coats of this, building up slow. We're going to get a nice gloss black finish to these window surrounds. So take your time, building it up. Try and avoid the other parts on the stick. Get all the angles as well, and you'll have to finish this with a nice wet coat to get that nice gloss colour at the end. So there we go, really nice colours, the GX2s, or any of the GX colours. They lay down absolutely beautiful, nice gloss finish. Yeah, good paints. One of my favourite go-to paints, and the GX2 and LP5 are probably my most used paints. So there we go, everything primed in black. We've got some gunmetal for the wheels. So I opted for gunmetal. Looking at some of the cars, they're in various colours, and gunmetal was prominent on one of them. So I've got Pro Scale Paints gunmetal here. I was going to put a couple of light coats down on each one. Exactly the same way we primed it, getting in all the spokes, getting all around the rim, and underneath the rim as well, to get even coverage. Until we're happy with the metallic coat, and these rims just look absolutely fantastic. And then Pro Scale Paints carbon ceramic for the discs. So a couple of coats of this, building it up. This will give us that carbon ceramic look paint that we're after. Well, it's not really paint, is it? It's actual carbon ceramic, and it looks really good in my opinion. And again, getting all those angles to get the edge of the discs as well. Cover's beautiful, looks really good. Did the backs on these a little bit because you could see they're a little bit wider than they should be, but we're still going to spray them later on as well. Just for now, we're just concentrating on the front, and there we go. That's those done, looking really, really good. Decals. So the calipers were painted in black on this one. So we've got some logos for them. Now, the kit did not come with any logos for the calipers, which is pretty poor in my opinion. Same with the 458, didn't come with any. We did for off models a while back. So I've got some Brembo white decals at my parts box. And I'm going to put some Brembo white decals on, which, unless you look really close, you're not even going to notice what they say. So yeah, real shame with no Ferrari badges or logos in with the kit. But yeah, a bit odd. Never mind. Would have thought they'd been in there. Standard decal procedure, get the moisture out, hit them with UMP decal solutions. Let them dry, bit of heat, job done. So there we go, that's all 4 of those done. Looking good. And then we're on to the rear diffuser. Now, there's lots of carbon on this car. I'm not going to show it all. You've seen me decal carbon loads of times before. This is all pre-cut. It all fits in perfect. There must be about 20 parts for this rear diffuser. So quite a long job doing this. But again, just get them in place where they should be. Get them conformed with the decal solutions and a bit of heat, and just go step by step, follow the instructions using the numbered decals as you go. I say heat works wonders on decals. Just be careful with resin. You don't want to heat the resin up too much, as it will literally bend and deform. And you also don't want to heat the decals up too much because they will bubble. Nice carbon decal for the dashboard as well, shaped for all the console and instruments and what have you. So very, very carefully laying that in place. Like so. So we get it where it wants to be. Then we'll hit it with decal solutions and a bit of heat to get it in shape. So really nice fitting decal, to be fair. And there we go. Gently conforming it in shape with the UMP strong decal solution. And just moving it over where needed. decals do have a bit of a tendency to move at the worst, most inopportune time. But once you start getting them burnished down, they tend to start sticking where needed. As you see here, just giving them a little bit of a pull, just to get it where I want it. And with a little bit of heat, it really starts to conform into shape. Again, be careful of the heat. Keep your thumb nearby. I use my thumb as an indicator that the resin's getting too hot. Once your thumb starts to burn, yep, that's enough heat. So there we go. With that done, I'm just going to pull this decal out that's moved just a touch. There we go. Then we can get some decal solution on there again and just burnish it down until we're happy. Big shitty decal on this front diffuser, top and bottom as well. Like I say, I could do a whole 30-minute video. I could probably do two 30-minute videos just on carbon decal alone on this kit. There's a lot of it, so I just thought I'd show some of the most prominent bits. There we go, getting it laid down with the decal solutions. This is the top decal now. We've got the bottom one on. This is the top one. It's got quite a bit to conform around, so a lot of decal solutions and a bit of heat to get it conformed in place. And on the top one, we want to fold the edge over the front and sides so it covers that bare resin where it's just black. Like I say, just be careful with the heat. Don't apply too much for too long. And there we go. Once we're happy, we're going to spray these later. We're not going to gloss these. These are going to be done as semi-gloss for a little bit of a different look. So I'm getting them pre-mounted now so I don't have to handle them. And then I finally go over with some decal solutions, get the edges burnished over, job done. There we go. Like I say, tricky ones to do, so take your time here. Once you get them conformed in place, they start to look really, really good. So got a good shine to these as well. If you really wanted to, you could leave them as is. But for me, I wanted that kind of semi-gloss look. It was the vision I had of the car, so yeah, we're going to deal with that later. Right, these side skirts now. So these are handed. They go one particular side. Now, there's locating holes on the body and locating holes on the photo etch as well. If you look carefully, there's two little recessed parts. The two little tiny bits of PE I'm putting in here. There's a round one at the top and a rectangle one at the bottom. They glue in place and they locate on the body then. So quite a good system. It ensures you get the PE in the right position. There we go. With the CA dried, we can test it. Absolutely perfect. Locates it really well. Like I say, this is going to be carboned as well. While we've got bits and bobs drying, I'm starting to work on just other random bits that were already painted. So we've got the center locks for the wheels. They do come with decals, but I've got these MSM like bubble sticker Ferrari logos that look a lot better in my opinion because they're 3D. Self-adhesive, just pop them in place, push them down, and they look absolutely fantastic. So we can do all four of those, and then we can cut these off with a little dab of Bob Smith's Gold. We can glue them in place. So yeah, all over the place with this, but I built this kit quite quick, and this is how you build kits quickly, by not stopping, working on other parts where other things are drying, and so on and so forth. The biggest drawback, or not drawback, what the waiting game is, we're waiting for the 2K to cure. I will not polish my 2K in less than 7 days. So we'll just work on this until we're happy to polish the 2K. So we've got our wheels and tyres mounted now as well. They've all got their Ferrari logos and centre locks in place. Wheels are looking great. There are really nice rims on this car. I've absolutely no idea what they are. I'm assuming they're just Ferrari's own wheels. But they look very, very good. And then we've got some awkward decals to pop on. So these are pretty awkward. There's a lot of faff in here. This took me quite some time to do. So much so, the bit of footage I've got in a minute, I've actually sped it up. So it's on like 4 times speed because, as you can see, when you get it in place, it goes nowhere where you want it to. The Ferrari logo needs to all be centralized, and it's easier than it looks. Sorry, it's harder than it looks. Yeah, this was a bit of a nightmare. 4 of them to do in total. And yeah, quite a bit of time spent here doing these. So it's a case of just gently moving the decal around all over until it looks like it's a circle. So microscopic movements, then hit it with the cotton bud to get rid of any moisture, and then sod's law, the cotton bud moves it. That's a case of going around again and moving every single little bit till we're happy. Like I say, trickier than it looks, really was a problem. And obviously you've got 4 of these to do. A little bit of heat to dry the decal out a touch, and then some UMP decal solution to set it in place. So just be nice and gentle. And to be fair, although it was tricky, they went down really well. And there we go. Set them all in place. Nice and gentle. Be careful when you put the decal solutions on because it can kind of reactivate and lift the decal again. So just be nice and gentle. And then leave those to fully dry and they should be set in place perfectly. There's all 4 done. We move on to our brake discs. So little tiny dab of Bob Smith's gold, and we can pop the disc on top. Now the discs are specific to each end, front and rear. So they're bigger on the front, smaller on the back. So make sure you get the right ones in place. You don't need a lot of CA glue at all. You don't want it all splurging out into the center. But you can see there how the back of the PE is wider than the front, which is a bit annoying. So it shows the bare edge of the photo etch. So what we're going to do is get the photo etch on, and then we're going to very lightly spray around the edge of the disc. Just very carefully, very precisely. So a little bit annoying. We know for future though. And then we've got the central hubs, which we sprayed black earlier on. And if we bend over the tabs at the top, we end up with a bare silver piece, which gives us the perfect look. So it's bend it over section by section. Make sure that you painted these the right way and you're bending the right way, because if you bend them back, i.e. you've done them wrong, they'll snap off. Been there, done it, got the t-shirt. So this is all about making life easier for ourselves. So we get a nice bit of detail on the hubs with just one colour of paint. So just gently bend it over and then flatten it. Move on to the next one, repeat, and obviously you've got 4 each of these to do as well. There we go, and then a tiny bit of Bob Smith's on 3 spots. There we go. I always do like a triangular pattern on parts like this, and then I've actually added a bit more for look there. And then we can line it up with the appropriate disc. You can see the colour contrast on the carbon ceramic, the black centre hub, the black ring of the photo etch, and the silver. It looks really good. Quite a tricky decal to apply to our paddle shifters here. So I've popped it on one of my precision noddles from CA Glue just to get everything lined up and then pull it all off and get it set in place. Steering wheel has got some tricky decals on it as well. Got a very tricky couple of buttons each side, like minute little tiny decals. So carefully get them in place, hit with set in solution and leave them be. And then I want to flat back the solution, the decals on the wheels. So I've got some of the old Testors Dulco here. Now this is perfect for not only matting the seats like we're doing here, but for also brushing on the wheels and matting back the decals on there. So I did have the footage, I'm hoping it's still here, but mixed with a bit of Mr. Hobby Rapid Leveling Thinner, or Mr. Hobby Rapid Thinner, and a couple of coats gives us a nice flat finish to the seats. And then we're on to applying the decals to the back. Now I did have footage of me painting the wheels and I've lost it. So apologies for that, it was there earlier. And apparently I've cut it out, unless I show it further on, which I'm kind of hoping I do. We'll see. Anyway, these decals are pre-cut. Now I always find when they wrap around the sides, they never ever quite fit. So I like to get them in place roughly, test fit. If it creases, think, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Look for where the crease is, then get a pair of scissors. I'm using the Tamiya decal scissors here. Follow the crease, because that's where the natural join will be then. And just cut it straight up. Follow the crease. There we go. And then we'll pull that off. And we'll just place it on the damp backing paper. And then we'll burnish that side down when we're done, and we'll cut off this side as well, again on the crease. Use the crease as your guide because that's your problem area. So because it's too long, it will end up with a crease in there permanently because you can't get rid of it because it's too long. So what I've done is we've reactivated the backing paper with some water, and they'll stay on there fine while I set this in place. So using the water pen, we're going to burnish it all down, some UMP decal solutions, a bit of heat. We'll get this perfectly conformed on the seat. There we go, a little bit of heat. Get this set in place perfectly. And then a final brush over to burnish all the edges down. So this is my easiest way of doing seats. I always find this way works really well. And then what we can do is pop the side pieces in, like so, and then burnish those down. And the carbon, because it's a weave, will match, and you'd have to look really closely to see the join. So this is definitely the easiest way of doing this. Get the decal on, get it in place, look for the crease, cut it, and then blend it back together, and no one will ever know. They'll never know. They're gonna know. They won't. Trust me. So with that done, I have painted those tyres, and I've lost the footage. I have. Yes, I'm a prat. Now, this kit called for photo edge on the front and the back of the disc. With a photo edge on the back of the disc, the caliper wouldn't fit over. We've had this before, so we really need to start checking these. This is a brand spanking new kit with way too many flaws than it should have. I'll forgive it because it's an epic kit of an epic car, but it's still got flaws that shouldn't be there. Anyway, we pulled the disc off the back, no harm, no foul. You can't see the back of the disc anyway. We've got the appropriate hub in place. We've attached our caliper and disc to the hub, and we're just going to quickly test fit everything in place. Once we're happy, we'll glue our caliper in place, then our disc, and then we'll pop our wheel in and do this for each section. But always confirm you've got the correct hub, disc, caliper, that the disc and caliper, or more the caliper, are facing the correct direction before committing to any glue whatsoever. There we go. A quick test fit again. The stance on this car is absolutely phenomenal. It looks absolutely fantastic. The wheels sit in the arch is absolutely perfect, and with those yellow decals, it just looks absolutely great. Fuel filler cap, painted in Pro Scale paints, I believe it was Superfine Silver, and then I popped on the two photo etch rings. I didn't lick that at all. They've been glued in place with Tamiya Craft Bond, wiped off the excess, and there's a little bit of PE to go in the centre as well. Now all the carbon's been drying for a couple of days, and we've got some Mr. Hobby semi-gloss coat now. This is one of the GX colours, I forget which one it is, and it's thinned with Mr. Hobby Level and Thinner. And we're going to put a couple of coats down to this, and we're just going to get a nice semi-gloss finish. So it'll flat back the PE to a nice even colour. What's the word? Shine. You can see this now. Look, you can see how well it semi-glosses that finish. So it'll give us a nice even shine, and it'll also help protect the decals a little bit, sealing them in to a degree. But it doesn't need a lot. Doesn't need heavy coats. Just nice light thin coats, a couple of. And we end up with a nice semi-gloss sheen to all the carbon. Now, it's that time again. We're going to polish the body up. Now, I'm going to do a full video on this at some point, on how I do the bodies. I think it's pretty obvious. So, on the last few kits, we've done 3000, 6000, 8000 with the Trizic. On the last kit we did, the Torino, I noticed some quite bad scratches in the roof. And I think it was from the 3000 grit. And looking at it, with the good clear coat we're getting now, I don't think we need that more aggressive 3000 grit sanding sponge. So this one here, we've got some 6 and 8000 Trizic, and they did a fantastic job. So going forward, I'm not going to use the 3, and we'll see how that goes. We're doing an RX-7 next, which is red, so that'll tell us if we need the 3000. But we've got some water there with a bit of washing up liquid in. We've got our 6 and 8000 Trizic pads, and we're going to go all over the body and flat back the paintwork to get us a nice even clear coat. This will thin out the clear coat a little bit, make it look a little bit less toy-like. And it will also get rid of imperfections, any dust or any specks that are in the clear coat. And then we can come back with our polishing compounds and get that shine back. So we've gone all over it with the 6000, and then gone all over it with the 8000. and just dulling back that finish, being very careful of any raised sections or corners where the paint's thinner. Now we've got our polishing pads. We've got the blue medium pad here. We've got some Menzerner 2500. There we go, compound. So this is a coarser compound. What we're going to do is put a little blob on and then spread it all around so the machine doesn't spray it everywhere. And then we're going to very gently polish up our finish. So I will do a full video on this at some point. Again, this is one of those stages that I could sit here and it could take up an entire video. And we can't do that every video, so I kind of got to skip forward some bits. So these polishing pads, absolutely fantastic. We will have some of these in stock soon at ProScale, so stay tuned for that. With the Herzo battery drill, they were perfect. They also work great with my Proxon rotary tool as well, my mains electric one. And it's a case of just gently going around. We're not putting full pressure on it. We don't want to compress that sponge all the way. And just being careful of all the edges, we end up with a beautiful polish finish. Now I'll sped this bit up a little bit because otherwise we're going to be here all day. This is only one stage. We've still got the this is the 2500. We've got the 3800 to do, and then we've got the Autoglim Super Resin Polish to do as well. So we would literally be here all day. But this has changed my polishing regime. It's made life so much easier, and I'm getting a much better result. This car looks absolutely stunning when it's finished. The Torino did we finished the other day, and I think using the less aggressive 6,000 and 8,000 tri-zip pads has paid off here, because the paint finish is just absolutely beautiful when we're done. So just take your time here, be just wary of any edges, any grills or recesses. Once you're happy you've done a section, get a nice clean piece of, I like to use t-shirt material, and just buff off the compound. Again, not being too rough. And if you look at the shine just from the first stage, this is a fairly aggressive compound, this one. The shine we've got alone off this stage is absolutely phenomenal. You see it on the roof and the bonnet. So it's only going to improve as we go through the different grades of polish. So absolutely stunning. So yeah, if you're not trying one of these rotary sets, they're worth a go. Like I say, whole fire, we should have them in stock at ProScale pretty soon. I'm using Menzerner compounds, 2500 and 3800, and then Autoglim polish. So again, onto the sides, get a blob of the polish, rub it on. That way, it doesn't get flung off everywhere by the tool. It's a case of just being gentle again and going around. Like I say, we could be here all day showing you this. But this has definitely sped up this process for me and improved it. I'm getting a much better finish on it. And it's much, much easier. Just be careful of those corners. Any edges or any raised areas that A, you don't snag them, and B, you don't burn through the paint. We don't want to undo all our hard work by being a bit over exuberant with the polish and the pad. So just take your time. You're better off doing this multiple times rather than ruin it. Try to do it once. So you soon get the feel of it. And like I say, you don't want to fully compress that pad. You want to let it kind of float. Now we've done the 2500 and the 3800 using the blue on the 2800 and the red on the 3800. And now we're going to use another red sponge on the Autoglim Super Resin Polish. This is a very mild polish. This will give us our just final shine at the end. Exactly the same procedure. Rub it all over, spread it out, and then get our red polishing sponge. Now it's much softer, this one, so it compresses a lot easier. So be very careful. You kind of want it at the point where it's compressed but not fully compressed. That way you get a bit of pressure and you get the beautiful polishing action of the sponge as well. As you've noticed, the battery ran out my Herzo drill. Always does. Halfway through it runs out and I'm onto the Proxon. Similar RPM, not a problem at all. Very easy to use the Proxon. The beauty of this one is this is foot pedal controlled, so it's a bit easier. So going forward, I might actually use this all the time because it's much easier to switch on and off and does just as good a job. Like I say, go around nice consistent, being very methodical and making sure everywhere's polished up, but just be aware of catching edges with that yellow part of the tool or burning through any edges with the sponge. It's very easily done. But yeah, that's looking good. Looking really, really good. Right, well, the polishing done. We do get some polish remnants in the panel lines and all the grills and that off the car. So I've loaded up my iWater airbrush with some water, and we're going to jet wash all this out. So I find if you go around once, jet wash it all out, it kind of softens it up, and then go around again a second time, it'll get all the remnants out. So you can get all the grills out. All I'd ask here is make sure wherever you're putting on the airbrush is just water. Get any other bottles out the spray booth, because trust me, it'd be very easy to pick up lacquer thinner and accidentally spray the car and lacquer thinner, destroying your paintwork. So always make sure it's water you're picking up. Now I have actually just picked up a really cheap airbrush off eBay, dedicated for this. It's a cheap guy. Oh, what is it? Fengi, I think it is. Fenger, whoever it is. Airbrush just for this job. So you see that going forward. And in this case, just jet wash it all out. And so you've got all the polish remnants out. And then we cut to blow off all the excess water. Obviously make sure you don't hit the car body with the airbrush and damage it. And then we get some tissue and thoroughly dry it all off. And there we go. There's our body all nicely polished. Like I say, those polishing pads, that Mazerna compound, absolute game changer for me. Making life so much easier and making my cars look much, much better. So definitely one worth trying. With it all dried, we've got our nice glasses microfiber cleaning cloth here. We can give it all a good polish up and see how we're looking. This is the end of part 2 for today, so we'll be back for part 3 very, very soon. But this thing's looking absolutely beautiful. If I knock the light off, you can see the shine a bit better. You can see it mainly on the black stripes on the roof, just how nice and shiny that is. The pearlescent paint looks absolutely fantastic. So like I say, we'll be back in part 3